Welcome back to Forza Horizon 5, and today we are going to be having a battle between the ultimate expression of the C7 generation Corvette and the introduction to the C8 Corvette. Now, basically, how this is going to work is we're going to see what top speed we can extract out of a fully built C7 ZR1 versus a fully built and boosted C8 Corvette. Now, it's going to be a really interesting battle, and we're going to drive the C7 ZR1 first. We're going to build it up. We're going to see what it's all about. Then we're going to, of course, switch over to the C8 and see what we can do on that end of things. Now, the only restriction, I guess you would call it, is we are going to be leaving the C7 ZR1 supercharged because that is how it comes from the factory, and I really do feel like keeping the ZR1 supercharged is kind of part of the charm of the ZR1 to begin with. So, let's go ahead and get started in the C7 ZR1. Now, the C7 ZR1 it's not only is it a really interesting car, but I also feel like it doesn't necessarily get a ton of attention in Horizon 5, and I'm kind of interested in changing that a little bit. Now, straight away with the custom upgrades, we're going to go right into the engine. Now, race intake is a must right off the bat, but let's just make sure to go ahead and clarify to you guys, this is already making 755 horsepower and 715 foot-pounds of torque, weighing only 3,560 pounds. Like, that is, first of all, that's an absolutely insane power-to-weight ratio. And not only is it an insane power-to-weight ratio, but if you think about it, that's only like a few hundred pounds more than something like an E46 BMW. It's really only like a couple hundred pounds more than something like that, which is insanely, it's just mind-blowing to me. Now, going straight through to the ignition, the exhaust, I do want to hear the difference between the stock exhaust and the race exhaust. So let's see the stock exhaust. And now the race exhaust. The race exhaust is a lot raspier, like genuinely, it is so much raspier. Now, race cams are going to give us a big jump in power and also a big jump in rev range. Now, we're going to go ahead and upgrade the block as well, pistons and compression, and we're going to save the supercharger for last. Now, the intercooler setup, that's going to get fully built right off the bat, race flywheel right off the bat, and then now, let's see. So right now we're sitting at 949 horsepower and 836 foot-pounds of torque. Now with the race supercharger, we're going to peak at 1,057 horsepower and 932 foot-pounds of torque. Wild and insane numbers. And I'll tell you something, getting all that power anywhere in the rev range because it's a positive displacement supercharger is going to be wild to drive. Now, suspension-wise, I'm going to throw a race suspension on it so that we have, you know, as much control as possible. And then we're going to go ahead and obviously throw the sway bars on there, and we will do a race level weight reduction, bringing us down to 2,963 pounds, which again, under 3,000 pounds with over 1,000 horsepower is like, it's both exciting and terrifying at the same time. Now, transmission. This is going to be kind of a weird one because I'm thinking that, okay, so we can only do a race 7 speed, race 9 speed, or race 10 speed. I'm going to do a race 7 speed because I believe these have, if you would, in real life, if you buy the manual, I believe they're a 7 speed, and if you buy the automatic, I believe they're an 8 speed. Now, someone can correct me on that in the comments below if that is incorrect, but let me know, but I'm pretty sure that that is the way to go. So, or I'm pretty sure that that's accurate. So, keeping in that mindset, I'm going to go with the race 7 speed. And we will do probably a race diff. That makes the most sense to me in this kind of application. And then wheels and tires. Now, not necessarily, I don't want to do a drag tire, but what I do want to do is a slick, like a race slick. So I'm thinking we're going to go ahead and go up to a 325 in the front, because that's dumb sticky, a 355 in the back, and then, ooh, we can even, oh, dude, that's some spicy offset. That is some properly spicy offset right there. That looks so good. Bro, that is properly thick. Like, that is amazing. Now, let's see. Wheel style. Well, God, I don't know. I really like the stock ZR1 wheels, and normally I'm not, like, someone to stick with stock wheels, but I think I'm going to stick with the stock wheels on this one. And then as far as the downforce goes, I think I'm gonna leave that stock. I'm not gonna mess around too much with the aero. And if you wanted to, you could swap it over to twin turbos and probably make more power. But But, and out of curiosity, what engines can you swap in here? Not that you would really want to, but that's an interesting lineup of engines. There's like 3 different V12s and then the Racing 7.2 V8. But regardless, let's go ahead and throw this setup on, throw it together. And then let's see what the virtual dyno ballparks our top speed as. Now, ballpark top speed is kind of an interesting animal because you're always kind of in this weird space as to like, is it going to be fully accurate? Is it not going to be fully accurate? And most of the time it's close. It's just not entirely accurate all the time. Now, are you actually going to save or are you going to just get stuck in the spinny wheel of doom? So we're back after the spinny wheel of doom, and let's look into the custom tuning and see what this thing is ballparked at in terms of top speed. Now, the virtual dyno is reading 238 miles an hour. However, I wonder if we were to bias this a little bit more towards speed, how much that would go up. 240.6, a little bit more, 240.8. It seems like it's getting fairly aero limited, but let's drive it and see what it feels like to drive. But before we do that, I'm going to actually go ahead and completely lock the diff probably shouldn't do that actually. I'll bump it up a little bit, but not like all the way. I'll bump it up to like 70%. And then just for the fact that we're doing some more straight line stuff, I'm going to pull some of the camber out of it. Not all of it, obviously, but like a little bit of it just to see if I can squeeze a little bit more traction out of it. And let's take this thing out for a run and see what it's like to drive. It's actually got more traction than you might think. I say that as I blow the tires off, but actually, I legitimately mean it. And, the turn-in is insane. Chirps the tires into fourth, so if I was going to use this thing for, circuit racing style stuff, I would definitely mess around, obviously, with the alignment, but, man, it's not even that bad, right out of the gate. So, let's find a really nice open stretch of road. Now, I have a feeling that especially if we start, I was going to start at that end, but I think I'm going to start at this end. Yeah, I think I'm going to start at this end, because obviously there's a speed trap down here, but there's also a speed trap down there. And obviously 3 stars is going to be 240 plus miles an hour, but I have a feeling that this thing could go a little bit faster than that. Now, they say in the shop that rear wing is non-adjustable, and I'm kind of inclined to believe that they're correct. So, obviously, if we can't adjust the downforce, we're going to have to kind of, let that be and see how much we can just push through it with power. But let's find out. Although, before we do that, let's see how it drifts around the roundabout. You don't even need to clutch kick it. You just, power oversteer. Dude, you just, feather the throttle. And this is, remember, this is on slicks. Slicks! There's 200 already. I mean, that's freaking sending it. That C8, once I build it and bring it out here, might be a little bit faster in a straight line, but I don't know if it's going to be... Whoa, that was quite a bump back there. But yeah, I don't know if the C8's going to be more fun to drive than this. This thing is a blast to drive. Absolutely 100% a blast to drive. Man, it's struggling to get up, past 235, 236... I'm hoping she hits 237 before long. I mean, I hope it hits it on the downhill at least. There's 237. Come on, you're almost there. 238. I just want to see 240. I'll be really happy with that, especially with the aero limitations of this car. You're almost there. 236. Trying to lose as little speed as possible on these turns. 237. 238, 239, that was through the speed trap of what, 238? 241, okay, yeah, 242. It can do it, it just needs that little bit of downhill to do it. So, 244, 245, that seems to be kind of the benchmark for this car. But you know what? I know it's obviously not the fastest thing in the world in a straight line, but dude, if it doesn't look amazing doing it, there's just something about the way the C7 ZR1 looks that just, to me, is probably one of the most next level looking cars that's ever come out of GM. Genuinely, look at it, especially when it's just at speed. That side profile is literally, you cannot deny that side profile. You just cannot deny how freaking incredible that side profile looks. At least I can't. I mean, some of y'all might be able to. I can't deny how that side profile looks. It just looks so incredibly freaking good. But now it's time to go back to the Horizon Festival with that 245, 246 mile an hour top speed in mind and see what we can do with a built and boosted C8. So obviously I have actually quite a few stock C8s. I'm not sure why, but like I have multiple, well, I have two that are completely stock, and then I have one that's like a, I think it's like a tune and an exhaust, but I mean, it's nothing too crazy. I like this design, but I kind of want to switch to the other one. I mean, I know that like a design doesn't really change the performance at all, but I kind of want like completely stock. Like I'm talking bone stock, stock, like to start with. So custom upgrades. And this one, I'm going to go ahead and handle the chassis stuff right off the bat. I'm going to throw a set of race springs and dampers on it, race sway bars, and we'll handle the weight reduction as well. And then now, in terms of the engine, obviously it's going to be stock engine minus the additional boost. So we're already up NA over like 520 horsepower, 536 horsepower. Ignition done. Let's see how it sounds with the stock exhaust versus the race exhaust. The stock sounds really good. The race sounds even better. Like, it's actually a little bit less raspy than the C7 ZR1 engine. So I don't know, I kind of dig that. This is a little bit throatier, a little bit less raspy, and I think a lot of people are going to be partial to that sort of tone. Now, NA, we are making 723 horsepower and 607 foot-pounds of torque. Not bad at all. Now we're going to strap some turbos to it. So, turbos bring us to 891 horsepower, and then built all the way up and fully like enlarged, that's 1,094 horsepower and 919 foot-pounds of torque. And that's only with just the turbo upgrade. Now we're over 1,100 with the race intercooler package, which is a big deal. That's a pretty big upgrade. And I think, you know what? Yeah, for the fun of it, we're going to go ahead and throw a Street Hunters Designs wide body kit on it, because God, if that doesn't like accent the C8's lines so well, man, I don't know what does. So obviously race clutch is going in, and I think just in the interest of fairness, I'm also going to throw a race 7-speed in this car as well, and we will throw a race diff in this car as well, just once again in the interest of keeping everything fair. Now, as far as the tires go, it's going to be a slick race tire with a 315 in the front and a 365 in the back. 365s, that is such a wide tire. And on this one, since I'm going to an aftermarket wheel, I'm going to throw something nice and light on here that also looks really good. And if I can find it, that'd be great. I'm looking for the Titan 7s. There we go, Titan 7 TR10. Those look amazing on this car, by the way. And everything there is handled. Now, as far as the aero and appearance goes, not really going to mess with that too much, but I would like to go ahead and mess with a little bit of the tuning. Nothing too crazy, but just something to make it a little bit more top speed focused. Let's see what it ballparks for top speed. Now, we're currently ballparking at 212.6 miles an hour. However, I think that that's going to go up a lot once we dial back that final drive. Let's see what we have. Wow, now it's ballparking 255.5. Now, again, that's probably due a lot to the fact that the C7 ZR1 is aero limited by that wing, but let's dial it back just a little bit more. 256, 256. Okay, so a 288 ballparks us at 256, and the further down we go, it doesn't really seem to add anything in terms of mile per hour on the virtual dyno. So I'm gonna let that be as is, and now we're gonna head to the highway, and we're gonna see what kind of speeds this thing is capable of. I'm sure it's gonna go faster, but I want to see exactly how much faster. Also, let's see how it sounds. Yo, listen to those turbos. They sound amazing. They actually, if you're inside the the first-person view, it actually sounds like the turbos are behind you, which is legitimately like how it should sound in real life. That is amazing. Like, if you had a boosted C8 in real life, it should sound like the turbos are right behind you, because that's where they would actually be. Oh my god, I love that so much. All right, so let's go ahead and we'll get a little bit of a drift going around this roundabout, and then we will fire off in the opposite direction. Yeah, okay, we should definitely be in second for this as opposed to third. It's got enough torque, obviously, to do it in third, but it's a little bit more jumpy. All right, let's go. Dude, the sound of those shifts. They're so crisp. They just fire off one after the other. That sounds amazing. All right, up into 7th gear. There's 220. There's 230. Oh, this thing rips, bro. This thing absolutely freaking rips. 240. Oh, God. It's already, like, absolutely annihilating the C7 ZR1 in a straight line. But again, I have to go back to the fact that I feel like the C7 ZR1 would still decimate this thing around a circuit. But, man. All right, there's... Show me 250. Oh, my God. You're just sitting there at 249 taunting me. Show me 250, bro. Come on. There's 250. Let's go. 251. 252. Thing goes. Let's see it. We're almost there. 252. Once we start going down the hill, I bet we'll pick up an extra, like, whoa, that was weird. I just gave it a little bit of movement to the right, and it was like, yeah, no, we're going to get completely light on you and slide out. That was odd. I anticipate another 4 to 6 miles an hour. 252, 253, 254, 255, 56, 57, 58. That's more than I thought. 258 is not bad whatsoever, but again, man, I gotta tell you, both of these cars are insanely impressive. Both of these cars are just so, like, out of this world impressive that, like, you can't really go wrong with either one. Literally, you cannot go wrong with either one of these cars, and even though this one was a little bit faster in the straight line, I ended up coming away from this comparison wanting to drive the C7 ZR1 more. And that's not to say that I don't like the C8. I love the C8, don't get me wrong. But there's something really special about that C7 ZR1. Now let me know in the comment section down below which one you guys would take home. And if you're new around here, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn those notifications on. And I will see y'all next time. Talk to y'all later.